Hello there. In this video, you will be able to understand some of the reasons why people do not pass IELTS exams. Now, this exam is an exam that is built in a way to give access to people to fulfill and achieve whatever it is they want to achieve. Looking at the way things are, some people wrote the exam and did not pass. And you get to realize that these people actually could be some set of brilliant people. And then you discover that how could someone this brilliant write this exam and not pass? Then you need to understand that there is something that is lurking somewhere that people have not understood. It is important for you to note that this exam really does not have anything to do with your being brilliant. Of course, please don't get me wrong. It is very important for you to be brilliant, of course, to have a level of intellectual capacity before you attempt any exam. Yes, that one is very, very important. But I want you to note that it is not the fact that you are brilliant does not mean automatically the success to that exam is not automatic just because you are brilliant. I can tell you that someone who operates naturally at average level could have higher than the so-called brilliant ones. Why? Because there are some factors that actually determine the success you are going to have in this exam. So this video will let you know the reasons why some people failed this exam. Over the years, a lot of people wrote this exam and they did not pass. But let us begin to dissect the reasons why people do not pass this exam when they write it. And it will shock you that these reasons are actually the reasons that those people that did not pass in time past actually were victims of. So I'm making this video so that you'll be able to avoid all these things. By the time you avoid all these things, believe me, you will ace your exam effortlessly. Now, let's go. At this point, I would be talking about some points, and one of the points I will actually talk about that shows the reason why people do not pass this exam is first, you have assumption. Assumption. In this context, what does assumption mean? Assumption, in relation to this, simply means that when you have a conclusion on something that you have not thoroughly investigated, you just conclude on something, whereas you have not even carried out investigation to verify how true that thing is. That is assumption. And a lot of people actually feel like IELTS is this is actually an English-based exam. I am very good at English, at least. I've been speaking English since I was in my mother's womb, so that shouldn't be any problem. I don't even need to read much since it is English. Let me just go for the exam and write it and pass. Yes, the exam is not tough, so you may not even have to overstress yourself before you pass. Yes, we understand that. But at the same time, giving that kind of mindset shows that you already have a made up mind that you really should not overstudy just to write the exam. Whereas the exam is built in a way that it has some tricky aspects that if you're not careful, no matter how good you are, you may even fall victim and not even pass the exam. So assumption comes from the fact that you just trivialize the nature of the exam in entirety simply because it is English based. I have heard about a lecturer, not just a lecturer, a doctor of philosophy, doctor, who wrote this exam and did not pass. Can you imagine? And when that person told me, the first thing I asked was, that lecturer did not attend tutorial. He didn't go for coaching. Then he said yes, that the man did not go for coaching. I said I knew it. The lecturer believed that since I happen to be a doctor of a particular field, maybe a doctor in this field or in that field, then English should not even be a kind of subject that will give me tough time. I cannot afford to sit under the influence of someone who has not even backed the certificate that I have backed in my academic journey. It has nothing to do with that. One thing about this exam is what you don't know, you don't know. And that is why learning is very important. No matter how big you are, no matter how vast your knowledge can be in certain fields, when you get to some fields, you have to relax to learn. So when you have assumption will give you this mind that I already know. In fact, some people will tell you that, I want you to tutor me on this particular part and this particular part. And then I would feel like, okay, if that is the case, what about this part? Have you done the exam before and did not pass? So you want to just have training on this part because this part would not give you any tough time. And then the person will say, no, no, not really. I just feel like I don't need this part. I just feel like I don't need this part. Please do not have that kind of assumption. So assumption has killed a lot of people's aspiration simply because they do not see any reason to have class. And there are actually some people who believe that they will do online class. Please do not misjudge what I'm saying. I also run online class, but the online class I run is just like the class we are having right now. It is not a kind of class that I just hold or I just restrict to social media. No. We have class like this. I have my setup like this, and then you will be at the comfort of your area wherever you are, and then you have access to the board, and then I will be teaching just as you are seeing me right now, and then we do everything. That is the kind of online class I run. So there are some classes online that are just restricted to chat, social media, and most of what they do is that they will just send you materials. Just sending you, just sending you, just sending you. And by the time they send you a lot of materials, you just discover that you are tired of reading all this content because some materials will be so bulky, so voluminous to the point that by the time you have read like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 10 pages, you are tired. And I understand that fact because you seem not to get something. There is nothing better than when you sit under the influence of someone who knows that thing and then you get direct information. Because all these textbooks may not even break some things down per se. Even if they did, you spending time reading, 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 reading may bore you along the line. So having an assumption that I'm not, please do not misquote me. Some people would go for these online classes restricted to just online chat and then they will pass the exam. But I'm just saying that it is better. It is good, but there is something that is always better when you have a one-on-one class or an online class that presents whatever it is that you need in a way that you will get it as though you are in a one-on-one class. So that is just that. So you have to quit assumption. Do not have this mind that I understand English. I can just I don't need to attend training. You have to because if you are new and this is actually your first time of writing the exam, it is actually advisable that you go for class because this is an international exam that you have not even attempted before. And this exam takes huge amount of money. So you cannot afford to waste your money without having training, and try to go to a training center that you can actually vouch for, that people can recommend, that people can just say that this is the one that you should go. Go and look at their reviews, check whatever record they have, look at their track record, check their reviews so that you'll be able to know if it will be the best place for you or not. So that is one. Quit assumption. Never believe you know. Go for training at a particular center or you go for online class that is very befitting, that gives you every info raw. So do not have that assumption. So a lot of people, they had this in mind and they messed up. So you have to try and quit this. Another thing is inconsistency. Or this point may not appear strong, but it is very strong. When you are not consistent with learning, probably you have started a class or you have started a particular online class that is ideal and good and befitting, but you are not consistent in class. Probably you are you were present yesterday, you're not present today. Tomorrow, something you felt like something would come up, and then when the lecture held, you were not available. The next class, you were available. The next one, you were available. The one that came after, not available. By the time you are having this kind of presence, you will not be able to get some of the things that you need to get. And believe me, the class will not stop simply because of you, except in a situation whereby you booked a special class. That one is another case entirely. But if it's going to be a general class whereby you still have some other students, it is not okay for you to just skip class, irrespective of what happens. And I want to tell you that whatever is worth doing well. Before the time you will go for your coaching, you would have had more than enough time to do whatever you would have wanted to do. After the training, you will have more than enough time to do whatever it is that you want to do. So, within the duration of your class, you should try to stay consistent so that you'll be able to get every information, because learning can only be imbibed when there is consistency. There must be consistency. You learn, you learn, you learn. The day you will not show in class may be the day they will give a very significant information that will create a positive turnaround in your result. One mark can give you access to whatever it is you want to use the result for, and one mark can just bring you down, thus not realizing whatever intention you may have in mind. So you must do everything in your possibility to avoid being inconsistent. Learn during the process. You should learn, because whatever is worth doing well. Another thing you must pay attention to is fear. Fear. Do you know that this fear has crippled a lot of people when it comes to effort? Fear has the tendency to cripple your effort, and it will make it look like you have not done anything at all. Some people have not written this exam, but you know the kind of fear they have in relation to this exam. Their exam could be in 3 weeks' time. The moment they connect their memory to that thing, oh, I'll be writing an exam in the next 3 weeks. The moment the exam is now 2 weeks ahead, good. IELTS. Some people will even go ahead to fast and to pray 7 days, 5 days, just to pass this exam. Please, I'm not saying prayer is not good, but you have to do the right thing. When you do the right thing, there is a place of prayer, there is a place of working out the right principle. No matter how prayerful I can be, if this marker is here, no matter how prayerful I can be, that marker, I command, come to me, it will not come. The normal thing is I need to reach out my hand to reach for this thing, and it's as simple as that. Of course, you have to study for this exam. There is no doubt about that. You have to study. If you don't study, you cannot pass. Forget about prayer. The time you are using to pray, dedicate it to studying. By the time you are done studying, you cannot commit everything onto the hands of God. God, I have done my part. Help me. And that's it. You pass your exam. So fear will not make some people pass this exam. Even though some people have even prepared very well, still, because of fear, they will not pass this exam. And fear means false evidence appearing real. It is not real. That fear will only create picture, causing you to be afraid of something that does not exist and may never exist. So that fear is in your head, it is in your mind. So by the time you think about the exam, it creates this kind of fear. And to the point that some people begin to think like, hey, what if I don't know the questions? What if I run out of time. What if a very strange wind just blows and it blows everybody away together with the center? What if? You have to avoid all this. You don't have any reason to be afraid. Once you have done the needful, you have attended classes, you have done your work, you have done your study, you have no reason to be afraid. Just go for the exam. Some people, the only thing that is holding them back writing this exam is actually because of fear. They are still very afraid of the exam because they feel like they might not pass the exam. The only reason you have to be afraid is when you have not done the needful. You have not studied, you have not attended classes, and then you want to go for the exam. Definitely, you may not even have the slightest idea of what the exam looks like. But when you have done all this, then you have no reason to be afraid. The moment you shun fear, it builds your confidence to do the best and to bring out the best in whatever it is you're going to have. So you have to avoid being afraid. And another thing is wrong timing for training. Some people comment they are training at the wrong time. This training should be for a particular period of time. And during the period of time, you need to learn. Whatever it is you're going to learn will be in gradual stage, gradual stage. And then you can just see that some people will want to write the exam and they will not even have it in mind that they need to go for training. It will now be when the exam is like maybe 4 days or 3 days, they just feel like, I think I need to go for training. Let me just try to go online to see if I will be able to get a particular tutorial center so that I will get trained for this exam. And you will have 2 or 3 days for the training. There is nothing you may want to learn just with 2 or 3 days. So some people, they just activate this fire brigade approach for whatever training they want to do. And then by the time they now do the exam and not pass, you now feel like, why did you not pass? That training center did not train me well. Whereas they were the ones that did not commence the training on time. For whatever reason it is, do not rush your training. No matter the situation, begin your training. Let your learning process be gradual. Enroll for class weeks before the time you're going to have the exam. And the best time for you to write the exam is immediately you are done with your training. For example, the kind of training we do, by the time we do the training, immediately after the training, we organize mock tests that will give people the feel of the exam. And immediately after the mock test, they go for the exam. So we would have booked their seat long before they even finish their training so that everything will just be fresh. So it's not as if they are going to finish the training and then they will have to wait for 1 month, 2 months before writing the exam. It will not be a good thing. So the best thing, end your training and then immediately go for the exam. And do not rush your training because whatever you learn while rushing will likely fade. It will fade away because you have learned that thing under duress. And when you learn under duress, whatever you have learned does not have the tendency to stay. You may not be able to retain them. And that is why you get to the exam, you just forget so many things that you have undergone during the training process. So you have to learn when you should learn and then end the class when you should end the class. So this has actually contributed to the failure of so many people as regards this examination. And another thing is loss of commitment. Some people do not have commitment at all for this exam. And at times, some people may just be behaving as if the money they used for the registration, or probably maybe it's even someone that wants to sponsor them for the training, for the exam, even for the traveling. So they do not have this, they are so passive. They do not have this active involvement. They have this kind of commitment that is not superlative. Some people, not everyone. Whatever it is you're going to do during the training, you have to be committed. During the training process, if they have given you exercises, do the exercises. If they have given you take-home task, do everything. Come the following day or the next time you have class, Do the correction, do more exercises, submit them, look at how you're performing, and that is how you get to improve. Some people, you give them assignment and they will feel like, oh, I'm tired. I could not come. I could not do it. I went for one burial ceremony in my village. The great grandfather of my father's friend died. So they now wanted to blah 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 and something like that. Cock and bull stories. So please, it is very important for you to have this commitment. Be committed to whatever it is. And aside commitment that is coming from you doing all the necessary tasks, the assignment, the exercises, paying attention, then you must be mindful of whatever procedures they have given you in class. This part, this is how you go about it. Follow the pattern. This part, this is how to do it. Follow the pattern. Don't give your own. Fine, your idea can be good as a result of what you have read, yes, but that idea that you add should tally with what they have given you. Some people find it very difficult to adhere to instructions. You have to adhere to instruction. If you are going to learn, if you are going to pass, you need to trust the credibility of the one teaching you, because the one that is teaching you knows more than you. Of course, you might have read a lot of things, but because you are still under the influence of that person, learn so that whatever it is you have learned will be added to the knowledge you already have. So, commitment is very important. When people are so lackadaisical and nonchalant about their commitment towards the class, then it does not give them the right result. And that is why some people do not pass the exam. So you have to be mindful, be committed, give your all, give your 100%, and then you see. I have trained people over the years that I'm talking about people who were operating below average and they passed the exam. So with commitment, it will shock you that even someone that people might have relegated, that such person will not pass, will come up with a very fantastic result. I've experienced that. So you have to make sure that you stay committed to whatever it is you are doing or to whatever it is you are being taught. And another reason people do not pass is because they have inferiority complex. Some people believe that this exam is so great and they themselves look like this and the exam is like this, so they look like this, so they see the exam to be one very big exam, and then they feel like, hey, I want to write a whole IELTS, an international exam, hey, organized by International Development Program and British Council, hey, under the supervision of Cambridge Assessment English, hey, what a big exam. And then they would have painted the exam so big. And then they would have seen themselves so small, very minute. So, with that mindset, you have already set a barrier. You feel like, hey, this kind of exam that I want to do, this is an exam that people who have bagged masters in their academic pursuits, people who have bagged masters, people who are this, who are that, they are the ones writing this exam. And of course, people of all kinds of academic spheres will write this exam. Depending on your, irrespective of your educational level, as long as it is required that you write it. People who are bagged masters, people who want to go for master's program will go for this particular exam. People who just want to begin their undergraduate journey will also write this exam. So you may not put yourself in this position that, hey, oh, I hope I'll be able to pass this exam. That is, you can, as long as you stick to the instructions, you will pass the exam. The exam is not built for you to fail. The exam is built for you to pass. So that is why you will pass. But at the same time, you do not need to carry this burden of inferiority complex. Don't see yourself so low compared to the exam. If people who are of average standard in intellectual capacity could write this exam and pass, you will write it and pass. Over the years, I've had a lot of people. I've had a lot of people that taking them through class, hey, It was powerful. It was tough. Why? Because I needed to break it down. I needed to repeat a lot of things so that they would get. And eventually they got. And then they did the exam and they passed. So I felt like, oh, and they did the exam and they passed. So do not conceive the mind that the exam is too great for you to handle. By the time you have that, you are already defeated within. And for you to succeed in this exam, you need to succeed from within. You have to conceive the mind that you will pass. By the time you conceive the mind that you will pass, then you will pass. But along the line, you begin to feel like, I'm not sure I can pass this exam. I don't even know if I will be able to do this exam. By the time you begin to have that, you are relegating your capacity. And by the time your capacity is relegated, there is no way success can be projected out of you. So you have to avoid this. See the exam as something that you want to combat and see it as something that you will pass, no matter the situation. And the final one that I will show you is not knowing how to pass. Irrespective of whatever it is you have chosen not to observe, probably you have not conceived in your mind assumption, you have done away with inconsistency, you do not have fear, you commence your training at the right time, you have commitment, you do not have inferiority complex, irrespective of the situation, but you now do not know how to pass. That may still not give you the success. And when it comes to how to pass, you need to understand the nitty-gritty of all the parts. The exam is divided into 4 parts. You have the listening, the writing, you have the listening, the reading, the writing, and the speaking. Each of these parts has certain things that you need to observe, the type of questions that you should expect, and how to respond to all these questions. In my next video, I will be telling you about all these things. In the videos I'll be making subsequently, I'll be bringing out the necessary things that you need to understand under each part and how you can respond to all the questions involved for you to have your success effortlessly. So, you have to stay put and then stay tuned as I will be giving you all these ideas. Okay, so see you in my next video.